Hello, welcome back. And to the new one of you, welcome to Edugo webinars. My name is Giuseppe Tomasello. I'm the CEO and founder of Edugo. And I would like to welcome all of you to this new session. In the meantime, we are waiting people to join. I would like to ask you where you guys are from. Maybe you can type in the chat room. I am Italian, and I've been living the past 7 years in China. But now, recently I moved out of China, and now I'm in Paris at the moment. And together with me, there is also Rebecca. Maybe Rebecca, you can tell us a little bit where you're from.
Hi. Yeah, I'm from Taiwan, and I'm a big mover. I move around so much in the last few years. I lived in the US for a year, and I went to the Netherlands for my master's. So I was there for 2 years. And now I am in Vienna studying German. So a lot of countries. Where are you guys from? Anybody want to share?
Yeah, I can see already in the chat. We have Lucy, Escuela Online. Okay, my name is Luz. I guess you're from China because I can see some Chinese characters. Shangshui Shao. Okay. Julia, hi, from Israel. Hi, Julia, nice to meet you. Jeremy from Montreal, Christophe from France. That's great. I think actually the language learning community, one of the most interesting aspects is that it's very global. We love to travel the world to learn languages, and that's actually what make this community so international today. So I would like to start. Okay, I can see Rafael from Canada opening a language school in Spain. Hi, Rafael. And Concetta run an English school in the UK, but I am in Italy at the moment. Lucky you. Okay, for your holidays. Okay, great. I will start sharing my screen. Okay, in the meantime, you guys keep texting, and the more people are joining as we go. So I would like to introduce the topic of today's webinar. And the topic is how to create your language course easily. And this topic is very important because we know that many of you can be like academic directors of schools or even like individual teachers. You guys want to create a language course in order to have a very solid online presence and have a product that you can sell online. And that's the reason why today we want to cover this topic. And more in detail, we're going to cover let me open full screen. Okay, more in detail, we're going to cover the differences between active and passive language learning, and why actually when you create a language course online, it's important to do active learning instead of passive learning in order to increase your student engagement, and why for language learning is very important. Actually, active learning is much more important compared to other kind of concept. We're going to explore a little more about that. Then we're going to see how you can create the pedagogical structure of a language course. We know that many teachers or even like larger schools struggle in finding what is the right structure of a course. And so like we're going to explore a little more with Rebecca how we're going to what are the different options on how you can structure a language course for online teaching. And then at the end, we're going to show you how you can actually reduce the time when creating content, thanks to Edugo.AI platform and a bunch of tools that we built just to simplify the process of content creation. So before we start, actually, I would like to ask Rebecca to do a really brief introduction about herself and her background.
Yes. Hi, my name is Rebecca, and I'm very excited to be here at the webinar today. I'm the head of Edugo, the head of learning technology of Edugo.AI, and my job is basically to improve the pedagogical structure of the platform while making sure that the teachers can create really great lessons and courses very easily. So that's it in a nutshell. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Rebecca. And actually, we spend a lot of time interacting with language teachers and language schools, and therefore, like we collect a lot of feedback over the time. And so that's the reason why we created this presentation today, and why Rebecca is very qualified to talk about this. Okay, so the first thing, as I was saying, is let's explore a little bit the difference between active and passive learning. and why it actually is important. So I just give you some definition, and then we're going to explore a little bit some examples. So active learning is a method of learning or instruction in which students are actively involved in the learning process and are asked to engage in the learning process. Okay, so active learning is when students actively engage with the learning process, and this actually is the opposite of passive learning, where actually like is a method of learning or instruction in which students are receiving information from the instruction and internalize that. So it's like kind of a lecture. Usually like a passive learning is when you go to a university lecture, you just taking notes when the teacher is explaining to you the concept. Active learning is when you actually actively engage the student into the learning process. And the example I like to give when I say like the difference between active and passive learning is that, especially for language learning, is that I believe language learning is like is a skill that requires a lot of interaction and practice. It's like I believe is much more similar to the skill of playing tennis or learning how to play a sport, rather than a skill of learning mathematics or science. Because I believe like a language is something that you need to practice actively, and therefore like I believe that you cannot learn how to play tennis by watching YouTube videos. In the same way, I believe you cannot learn how to speak a language just by watching a video, right? And but the problem is that when you create a language course online, usually you just focus on the creation of maybe video content, and that therefore actually students cannot achieve their like learning objectives. So that's why we encourage you, when you're thinking about the creation of a online course, actually to do more like active learning. And we can go a little more in detail and explore a little bit what are the differences between active learning and especially on the pedagogical side. And active learning, actually, what you do is that you require students to think and discuss, challenge, and analyze information. So there is a lot of like interaction with the students, and the students actually they need to really deeply think about the topic that you're teaching to them. And usually language learning is translated into the production activities, where actually students are required to use the language that you teach to them in order to create a new language. And so you can encourage conversation and debate. So those can be techniques that you can use. And you design your lesson based on the student at the center of your teaching. Rather like passive learning, on the other hand, is that the students just need to absorb and assimilate, consider and translate information. So this kind of learning style is more, is a little bit like what we do in Italy, honestly. I always give this example that in Italy, people cannot, they don't speak good English on average, of course, because the kind of like pedagogical approach we have in Italy is called the grammar translation approach. Basically, we study English in the same way that we study Latin. So we just go and translate like, and therefore like we never go and, use the language in an active way. And so we never actually learn how to speak the language. And so like passive learning is, for example, like you can encourage people to listen and pay attention to detail. This is like the classic video format, like with the lecture style, you explain some grammar point, for example. And the students are not so involved in the learning process. And therefore, this is a teacher-centered approach. So it's you as a teacher, you design your lesson plan based on maybe like the learning outcomes that you want them to achieve. So you design all this kind of content, but you don't put the student at the center of the learning experience. And again, I think for language learning, this is a very, very important, is to think about when you design your course to have these active learning elements involved. And there is a reason why actually in Edugo, we focus a lot in active learning, and we put at the core of our platform active learning. And now I would like to give the floor to Rebecca actually to show you a little bit what are the differences in a more practical way, because now we just saw the theory, but we love to actually go and show you some real example on what we mean by active and passive learning.
Yes,
so Rebecca,
exactly.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and share my screen. 1 second.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we have covered the active learning versus passive learning, I want to show you a practical example. And let's say the topic today is English business phrases. This is a very common topic when we're teaching business English, right? And if I type this on YouTube, you can see there's so many different video lessons. They're all trying to teach you all the English expressions or phrases that you should use at your office, in the meetings, and so on. And I'm not saying that they are not great content. They may be really great content. They may be really engaging, but the videos here are actually a classic example of passive learning, because you as a student, you're not really doing anything. You're not really engaging with the content. You are just passively watching it and receiving information, right? And it's very hard to try to internalize the knowledge on your own without actually practicing and doing the exercises. So as opposed to this, with the same topic, English business phrases, you can create a much more engaging and active lesson on our platform. And this is one example. This is a lesson that I created with the short videos template, which I will show you how to use that later. So the first thing that you see is a flashcard for the phrases that you entered, that you want the students to learn. And we can listen to this to think outside the box. And so the students can listen to audio, they can read the transcription, and then they can, of course, read the translation. And then they go to the next activity. They have to choose the right translation. I apologize in advance because I don't know Italian. I'm just gonna pick this one. Okay, it's wrong. And then you can go on and do other kinds of exercises. For example, this one is organize the words in the right order. So students have to listen to it again to think outside the box. And then they have to reorder the words to complete the correct phrase. So let me do this one, to think outside the box. All right, seems that I got it correctly. So we can go on to the next activity. And this is a speaking exercise. So of course, I'll listen to this again. And then there's the transcription down below to help me to speak the phrase. And I can press this microphone button to speak it. To think outside the box. All right. So as you can see, the AI system can immediately recognize my recording and then translate it back. And if I say it correctly, then this is going to be green and it shows that it's correct. And I can also listen back to my own recording. To think outside the box. So if the students got it incorrectly, then they can watch the recording from the teacher again and then compare it to their own recording to improve their speaking performance the next time. And I think this is the last activity for that sentence. So as you can see, the logic is very simple. So we have, for example, we have like 10 phrases or 20 phrases inside one lesson. And we will actually divide them into different sections where you have to learn this phrase with different exercises one by one. So it's not that we put the exercises all jumbled together. You really can see the learning path very clearly. And because they are repeatedly hearing and listening to these phrases and interacting with the content, that helps them learn better as opposed to the video lessons that we just saw. So this is one of the lesson output that you can have with the phrases, and there's a different template that you can use for these phrases or even vocabulary words. So this is the vocabulary template. And the difference is that for this template, you can add images to accompany the phrases. And images can be a powerful visual aid for the students to memorize the meaning. So I personally like this template very much. And of course, to decide which template you want to use, it relates to the learning goal of this lesson. For example, if you want the phrases to like if you want to train their listening and speaking skills, then I think the previous one that I showed would be better, because the students can like watch your mouth actually saying the sentences, and they can imitate the pronunciations more clearly. But if the phrases are quite hard to imagine and you really need visual aids to help illustrate the meanings, and I think this is also a great template to use. So let's finish showing you the output. So this is a flashcard, and then after looking at the flashcard, you
To
can
think outside the box.
you can do other exercises. So this is just a choose what you hear exercise. And translation exercise.
To think outside the box.
And a speaking exercise, as we saw before. And
Rebecca, try.
Yes.
If you do a speaking exercise, actually, if you try to do something to pronounce it wrong, I know your English is very good, so you get it correct. But if you try to mispronounce some words, then we can show how the AI is giving feedback.
To cut corners.
That would be useful.
To cut corners.
Let's do this one. To cut formers. Let's see.
Okay. So, and actually the interesting thing is that you can then click on the words, and the students can actually listen to the specific word.
To
and
cut.
And also you can
corners.
click on the word itself and open like a dictionary card. So do you know? Like, okay.
Formers. Sorry, I just want to show it one more time. And yes, this is what you mean. Yeah. So if I click on to or cut corners, immediately you can see the definition and you can listen to it one more time.
Corners.
All right. So that's for the vocabulary template. And now I want to show you, I want to actually take you to the lesson creation process to show you how easily to show you how easy it is to like create this lesson.
Yeah, because I think, sorry to interrupt, but I think it's interesting also to ask how much time does it take for you to create one lesson like this one? If you have to think, okay, I want to structure one full lesson with all these kind of interactive activities, how much time will it take for you to create? Can you give us a range? It can be like from 1 minute to half an hour, I don't know, 1 hour. Is that something that you have in mind?
You mean for me, right?
No, for the audience. Right. I think if you guys can come on, like just like something pop up to your mind. What is the? I mean, I know some of you already use the platform, so Rafael, yes.
2 or 3 hours.
2 or 3 hours. Okay.
Yeah, if I want to make something really good. But I have used your platform, and it's actually it's very fast. It's very intuitive.
Oh, thank you, Rafael. Actually, now we are working on a lot of new templates. So the one that Rebecca showed to you today is actually like new pedagogical structures that we're implementing right now. So if you guys also have some kind of ideal structures, then we can talk, and Rebecca can help in building this kind of automatic structures generated. Okay. Yeah, Rebecca, sorry, go ahead. I just was curious.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. The answer is it would take absolutely, like, definitely less than a few hours. It's gonna take a few minutes, and let's try it right now. So this is the short videos template. And
so this page is about the templates, so you can have all these different pedagogical structures in that page. So we are adding a lot of new templates right now. So we create this new page where you can navigate.
Yes, and now I am on the lesson information page. I'm just gonna put the title here. You know what? Why don't we make this more interesting? Anybody wants to suggest a topic for English phrases? Any kind of topic. We don't have to do business. It can be anything. It can be like vocabulary words.
Adjectives to describe people, I can see in the chat.
Oh, okay, adjectives. Adjectives to describe people. That's awesome. All right, and here is where I can upload a lesson image, or we call it a thumbnail. And this is like one of my favorite features on the platform. So in addition to have the option to upload the image, you can also just search for it. And since it's going to be about people, I can search for people. Okay, nice. This is an image with a lot of people. Let's choose this one. And then it's automatically selected. This is very great. And here is where you can type the lesson description. Okay, let's do this lesson will introduce you to some adjectives about people. All right. And I can click on next. So here is the sentences page. This is where you can upload or record the short videos, and I'm gonna record them. Yes, so suggestions for adjectives to describe people.
My brother is very tall.
My brother is very tall. That's a good one. Is that true?
No, I'm the tallest.
No. Okay, I'm gonna record this.
Actually, Rebecca, since you are in Zoom, because you are in a Zoom call and you cannot use the video camera for both.
Okay, let me stop my video and then try again. Okay, one more time. So
that's actually the one of the limitation of having this demo during the during Zoom call is because the video camera can only take one input. So if you're using the camera for the call, then
that actually makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's try that again. All right, it worked.
It worked.
So first sentence, right? My brother is very tall. Okay. My brother is very tall. Okay, one more time. My brother is very tall. Okay, here you go. As you can see, the system would merely detect the transcription and then show it here. And if you're happy with this, you can press continue, and it's gonna save this sentence. And then in the meantime, give me another one. Any audience suggestions? My brother is very tall. Let's do my sister is very pretty, which is true. In my case. Okay. My sister is very pretty. All right.
I just saw in the chat, Galina say, my dog is very naughty, which is true.
That's a great one.
True as well.
That's a
Because I met the Galina dog in Palermo a few weeks ago. He's very cute. He's also very cute. But it's to describe people, so I don't know if he's on top.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, okay.
We'll let it go. Yeah. My dog is very naughty and cute. Okay, I didn't pronounce it very clearly. One more time. My dog is very naughty.
Okay.
All right, Galina, that's the sentence for you. Okay, now we have 3. I think that's okay. Let's wait for it to finish processing.
Fantastic.
All right.
I think this kind of template is also very good, especially in if you see like how people using social media right now, and there is a lot of teacher influencers that post a lot of content, which is this kind of like saying sentences in the target language. I think that's actually very interesting marketing technique, is that you can connect, content you produce in the social media to then creating this kind of interactive learning activities in the platform, and then create a link, I think this template is very powerful as a marketing technique to, get the audience attention in social media, and then get this audience in your platform and acquire like the kind of like sign up, and so you get the email of the audience once they join your platform. So we will show you soon that this learning activity, then you can get a link, and then you can embed this link on Instagram, for example, or YouTube, right? Or any other channel that you use to acquire customers. So we see this actually as a very powerful technique. Okay, and that's it.
Definitely. All right, so yeah. Yes, that is it. That is literally it. After I recorded the sentences, I clicked on next. And this is all automatically generated activities, as I showed you in the previous lesson. So we have like flashcard, choose the right translation, a listening exercise, speaking exercise. And that took, we should have started the clock to time it, but I believe it didn't take a long time. It was only a few minutes.
Yeah, and even because we need to create from scratch. So I know many people already have some videos from social media, so if they upload, it would be even shorter because they already create the content.
Exactly. And here you can review the lesson, but I'm not going to do that because we've done that already. And I would love to show you another template, the vocabulary template, and we can do something that's very similar to this one.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, is that how easy is then to share this lesson, because then in the list, in the list you can find this adjective to describe people. You just click share, and then you can copy the link and you can embed it in your Instagram, for example. Copy link, or you can send directly into the students inside the platform, because then once the students are inside the platform, you can directly distribute this content you create. Okay.
Yes, exactly. All right, so here we are at the template page again, and I'm gonna choose the vocabulary template for this one. All right, so let's do adjectives. It's gonna be similar content for as the previous lesson. Can people. This is again the same process as we have done before. For description, I'm going to put this lesson will show you some useful adjectives. All right, and I can click on next. So instead of the sentences page, you have the words page. And all right, let's do the real adjectives here. So we have pretty. And as you can see, I just typed the word in target language here. Immediately the translation will show up, and the related images will also show up. And this is linked to an image database with all the royalty-free images that you can use freely in your on your platform. We have tall. Okay, this is very tall, but that's not what I meant. All right, she looks very, very tall. And we have naughty.
Okay, I was wondering.
Oh.
And Galina, we should put the picture of your dog there.
Or maybe we can put dog.
Why?
Yeah, this one looks pretty naughty, right? Okay. All right, a naughty dog it is. Okay, so now we have 3 words, and we can just click on next and see the magic happens.
Okay.
All right, so we have flashcards here. Choose what you hear exercise, choose the right translation, and speaking exercise for each word.
Fantastic.
So this is the output that we showed you before, and you finished the lesson, and that was it.
That's great. I want to actually, Rebecca, very quickly, if you can go back on the module page and show a little bit. I mean, if you're not happy about the kind of automatic output that the template gives to you, how actually you can improve it, right? And you could add or edit the existing activities that have been generated. So in the single activity, you can actually change it, but also going back, you can add other kind of material or activities inside this lesson. Okay, confident with English. Can you show me how to turn off the Italian, please? Okay, so the Italian actually is not in all the activities. So the Italian in this case, because we are testing this platform that is to learn English from Italian. Of course, our system has like any kind of language pair, like we offer many language pairs. But in case you want to actually have exercises that don't have any translation, then you can use some activities that they don't have translation, right? Like, so maybe Rebecca, you can choose some activities that don't have any translation. For example, like the speaking activity, like you don't need to translate, you just need to repeat the.
Yeah, so the speaking exercise, so this is just a transcription.
Yeah, but we have other activities that are just target language. We don't have any translation.
Yeah, for example, for choose what you hear, we also don't use the translations. And for other exercises, like fill in the gaps, and pick the correct images, sentence magnets, we're all now using translations for any of these activities.
Really comprehension. Yeah, so linking sentences. So there are a lot of activities that you don't require translation. And then, of course, in case you don't want to give any help to the students, that's what you can choose.
That's right.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So I think we've done with the first part, right?
Yeah, I will have to come back and share my presentation again. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, So now we actually show to you more about like the active learning component, right? So as you can see very clearly, like in our platform, you can generate a lot of activities that are not just watching a video, it's not passively, but the student is actually interacting with those activities. Now Rebecca is going to show you the other part is how you can combine all these active learning components in our curriculum in order to create a course.
That's right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So before the demo, we were talking about all the advantages of active learning, but the question is, how do we actually transform this learning approach into a language course? Now, I want to show you something. This is a student-centered pedagogical model called RACE, R-A-S-E, and it's done by Churchill, King, and Fox. And the RASE stands for Resource, Activity, Support, and Evaluation. And I just want you to keep in mind that there are a lot of different pedagogical approaches to structure a course, and this is just one of them. All right, so to design a course, we usually start with the intended outcome of the course. And this is what we call the goal of the course. And this is whatever you want the students to achieve at the end of the course. And why is this important? Because this should be an overarching guide when designing your curriculum, because you have to make sure all the other components align with this goal. And once we know the goal, once we know what the students have to learn, we have the resources. And I mean, resources, you can also call it content, you can call it instructional materials, but whatever you call it, it includes the core content that would be taught to the students. And of course, it can be with all kinds of different media formats. It can be video, audio, text, you name it. And then to really embody active learning, you have to put the activities at the heart of your course. So this means that the students are constantly thinking and engaging with the content in many different ways. And the activities in this case, I define it as additional support for learners to learn the materials. And then we also have support. That just means the students are provided help when they need it. So for example, a chat function on the platform is a sort of support. And finally, we have the evaluation here. This is a way to assess learners' progress. Most of the time, this requires teachers' actual feedback and grading. All right, so that's the basic structure. And now the bigger question is, what kind of activities and evaluation should I create for the course? And this is where the Bloom's taxonomy comes in handy. And I actually want to ask you guys, how many of you have heard of Bloom's taxonomy or have actually used it when you're designing a lesson or a course? Because I know this is a very, very popular sort of a learning theory. It's more like, yeah, learning theory and psychological theory. So I just want to kind of know how many of you have actually used it. I cannot see the chat right now. So if someone can let me know, that'd be great.
Jeremy say no, I've never heard of it.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. I personally think this is very, very useful. All right. So Bloom's taxonomy, it's a very helpful framework to help us structure the learning outcomes and make us understand what kind of tasks require high level of thinking skills and which ones are lower. So the categories that you're seeing at the bottom, we have remember and understand. These are the lower categories, and they require the least cognitive skills. They require the least thinking skills because they are relatively easier tasks. And as you can see, this is a pyramid, right? So once you go up in the categories, you have evaluate, you have create. These are more complicated. Therefore, the students need more thinking power, they need more cognitive skills to complete those tasks. And what I really love about this taxonomy is that a company, you can like see the right-hand side, there are a lot of actions that are accompanying these categories, and these are actionable items that you can just include in your lessons and in your course, and that will make a lot of differences. And one thing I do want to mention is that to decide what would be a reasonable learning outcome, you also have to think about your learners' levels and prerequisite knowledge. So if, let's say, your students are beginners, they just started their Chinese course and it's their very first lesson, then maybe understanding and remembering and applying would be an achievable goal for the first lessons. So it's not like you have to make the students create every time you have a lesson. And you actually need the bottom levels of knowledge to build up the tasks that they can do at the top. All right. And if the students are more advanced, then of course you can move on to analyze, evaluate, and create those harder learning outcomes. Otherwise, they'll feel bored. All right, cool. So that was the theory. That was the perhaps the more boring part. And I'm gonna move on to the practical part. And the goal I want to illustrate is that depending on the learning goal of your course, you can design and create different activities across all levels very easily on the platform and structure them into your course. And I will show you an example. So I'm gonna start a new share. Give me 1 second. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes. So
yes.
Awesome. So I want to show you an example. So this is a business English class that I created. And this course it's called 100 Must Know English Business Phrases. And I made 2 units to show you just the structure of this course. Now, the goal that I have for this course is very simple. I want the learners to be able to use these phrases in a business context at the end of the course. So first, following the model that I showed you, we have the resources. So the resources in this case can be a video, can be audio, can be the lesson using the short videos template that we showed you. And in this course, I made a vocabulary lesson as the resources.
To cut corners.
So this is just something that I showed you.
To cut corners.
Before. So these are the core content that they have to learn. All right, and then we have the second component is activities. And here is the practice lesson that is in a format of a game.
To cut corners.
Where we can only make 3 mistakes. So let's play that together.
To cut corners.
To cut corners.
To think outside the box. Back to the drawing board.
All right. And as you can see, the learning progress, the practice progress is very, very smooth, and you don't have to click on the continue button. And you can see the hearts here. It represents the how many more mistakes you can make in this lesson. All right, and we also added the gamification element. So if I do the exercises correctly in a row, then I get bonus points.
To cut corners.
We have a link.
To think outside the box. Back to the drawing board.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna give up this one because I don't know Italian. Okay, I got one right. That's not bad. And we have some fill in the gaps. Outside box. Drawing board. All right, so that's it. That was the practice lesson. And as you can see, this repetition of different exercises really help the learners to remember the phrases. And so far, the activities are auto-graded by using the AI technology, as you can see. But to tap into the higher levels of thinking skills, you need teachers to give you feedback. So finally, we move on to the last component, which is the evaluation. And for this component, I made an assignment lesson. So here, and the tasks in this assignment, they promote higher levels of thinking. For example, we're asking them to analyze this sentence and to rewrite the sentence if necessary. So this was the first task. And then we have complete the sentence. So this is more of a guided practice, but we also want them to create something new using their own imagination, using their own knowledge. And finally, we have the last one. It's called make a dialogue. So it's just to make a short dialogue using this phrase in a certain context. And this is actually it really ties nicely to the course goal that I was talking about earlier, because for this course, the goal is for them to use the phrases in a business context. And this is actually what you want them to achieve. And then that was the last activity. Right. And of course, the teachers can provide feedback and they can mark all the activities in this assignment. All right. And now I want to show you how easy it is to structure your course on the platform. So let me go to courses. And I would find this course. This course was the one that I was using. And I can just go into the edit button. These are information that have been filled. And on the curriculum tab, here is where I can organize all my lessons. So I can change the order. I can move them down. I can move them up. I can also add the lessons. For example, I can also add this lesson that we just created together. It'll be at the top and I can move it around, of course. I can also add a video call if I would like to incorporate live sessions in between these on-demand content. And I can also do one more. So as you can see, this is a very, very easy way to structure your course all within one page. And then I can hit next, and then I can save it. So the final takeaway from this is that on this platform, you can easily create content and courses that incorporate the active learning approach. And yes, that was the end of my demo.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you.
Yes, I'm gonna stop sharing and give you the floor.
Thank you so much. I actually enjoy the way you structure this course, and I think give a lot of ideas on how you can organize this kind of units where you make the student practice different kind of skills using different templates. I think that's very useful. So right now, what I want to do is just to wrap up the webinar and just show you very quickly, like a call to action is that if you never try our platform and you want to try the platform, it's actually very easy. Right now, we created this automatic onboarding. So you can just go in our website, is Edugo.AI. We can share the link in the chat. So you can just click on the website and then press this button, get started for free. You're going to be able to go and create your account, of course. Once you press this button, it's very easy. You just create the account with your email. And then you're going to be able to go on this page, which is basically create your school. Here you can insert like the name of your school. You know, it can be anything like about your school, English with Giuseppe, for example. And in case I will be individual teachers. And also here, set up your URL, right? So you can have your own custom domain, like your kind of like your website of your online school. And this is very important. Here you can set up the language you want to teach. So there's something I want to say, because I know some of you have been asking the feature of having just English. The way our platform works right now is that you can, the target language, which is, for example, English. But then our platform works that you need to choose also what we call a source language, which is basically the translation language that you will give to your students. And so in my case, for example, would be, okay, target Italian people want to learn English. What we're working right now will be available in a few weeks is that you can just choose one target language. So we will completely remove this kind of like translation approach in case you don't need that. I know like this is kind of like some schools operate, like English school in France, they will need French as translation, makes sense. Some other teachers that teach like international audience, so this kind of like source language doesn't make sense. So you can, even if you are this kind of use case, you can create your school and then you choose just one translation language. In a few weeks, we're going to basically allow you to have just target language without any translation. So that's what we're working on right now, because we receive a lot of feedback for this feature. And then that's it. So literally, like, you just have everything, you press create, and then you will have your school, your own domain. You can you know, start creating lessons in the same way that Rebecca showed us today. And that's it. So if you want to try, test it out, go on our website, activate your platform. You have 14 days for free, and to try all these features. And then the pricing, once you finish that, is actually very friendly. You can go and check it out also in the platform. In our website, there will be all the pricing, and it actually starts from €9 per month, $9 per month. Actually, euros and dollars are the same value. So $9 per month, you can have the you know, the starter package, so you can create your courses, you can create your classes, and of course, our platform supports a lot of other features. So for example, like video call features that we didn't show you today, and also like supports you in case you have like a school or you want to have like 20 teachers. Then of course you have to upgrade in a higher package. If you're an individual teacher, the starter package is okay for you to create content. Okay. Last, I just want to share some useful links with you, and of course, the website, as I mentioned, I show you, the email in case you want to contact us via email, but also, of course, there are all the other channels on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, YouTube. We are all over the socials, so contact us in case you want in any of our social. And if you are interested in watching again this webinar, we're going to upload it in our YouTube channel. And so you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You get notified once the webinar is uploaded. That said, I would like to thank you, all of you, to be with us till the end. Of course, if you have any questions, you can ask me and Rebecca. We are available now to answer to your questions. If you want, you can drop a message inside the chat. if you have some question. Yeah. Oh, or you can, of course, go, Jeremy. You can also like speak.
Oh, can I ask a question?
Of
I was
course.
wondering because like we're in Quebec, and in terms of the translation capabilities,
Yes.
like we have a lot of differences between, you know, standard French and Quebec French. And like I was wondering if people would want, like if a teacher could possibly be able to go in and edit any of the translations or transcriptions in the activities. Is that possible? Like, so for example, if one word is different, would it be possible to go in and just change that word for the translation or the transcription?
Yes. Okay, Jeremy, thank you for this question. Actually, it's very interesting. First of all, what I can tell you is that we can take a look with our developers in case we cannot support for Canadian French. I guess that will be like kind of like the difference between English, UK English and American English. Probably it will be kind of similar, right? Like I'm not an expert, but
Sure,
I guess there will be some, there will be some words that are different translation. Yeah, we can check if we can add this kind of support, so it will not be so much needed the intervention of your teachers. But in case your teachers find some problems in the automatic translation system, they can definitely change it. So these actually, maybe I can share how to do it.
Sorry if I missed. Sorry if I missed that before. If you showed
No. We didn't show that specific part of like changing translation. Maybe Rebecca, if you have if you are still like on the platform, you can show quickly the part. Or maybe Jeremy, if you want, then we can show you. But definitely, like the teachers can edit all the translations.
Okay.
Yeah, during the lesson creation process.
And sometimes we have like a what would you call, like a homophone, or like a word with several meanings, or like an expression or something that
absolutely
might want to be changed.
I totally understand. And yeah, for example, here you can see that you can change the translation from the automatic system, but as well also like on the single word case, you can also change the translation. So
okay.
Yeah. I see your point though. Like maybe Rebecca, if you go on the vocabulary side, then you can actually have on the single word level, there is also the possibility to change.
I will have to not use lesson to show the keywords page. 1 second.
Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, I can see there are still some comments here. I can see Concetta saying, many thanks for your presentation, and I might look into this into the future. It was very interesting. I use Quizlet for my student, but this platform is more user-friendly, intuitive, and active. Thank you, Concetta. And yeah, we try to do things very specific for language learning. So. Okay, so in the meantime, Rebecca is showing us that in this case, of course, it's Italian, but in your case would be French, and then you can actually edit the translation in case the translation detected is not correct.
Great, cool.
Okay, then of course, Jeremy, if you wanna more like a training, then we'll be very happy, both for me and Rebecca, to help you out and understand how you can use that.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure. Okay. Perfect. So if there are some more questions, yeah, Rafael.
Yes, I have a few questions and some student feedback. I've been using the trial version. I want to say I'm very impressed with it. I like a lot of what I've been able to do, and also the students find it a lot of fun. And what's great too is that I can personalize. I'm working with professionals, and I can use their vocabulary and help them grow their vocabulary, which is exactly what I was hoping to do. But I did get a few, like some feedback from them. One of them said that I guess some of the sentences I did in the short sentences were a bit long. And by the time they got to the end of the sentence, I think it's like a 10-second sentence, they kind of forgot what was at the beginning. And there's no option to, I mean, I think something that could be helpful maybe is if there was an option where they could see the sentence, like maybe, you know, like a little eye icon or something where they could, see the sentence if they choose to, if they forget it, or hide the sentence in the short videos. Anyway, it's just a little comment that one of the students had. Everything was great, but he just had this one comment. So it's this option to see the text. And the other student, because I guess I'm learning how to use this and how to, I've been doing lots of sentences, and I should probably make shorter lessons with less sentences. But in the meanwhile, one student finds that, you know, every time they open it up and they start it, it always brings them to the first sentence. So is there a way perhaps for them to pick up where they left off in an exercise, right? And also, is there a way to, like, for example, take particular questions and move them into like another lesson? Because, for example, I did some vocabulary for a physiotherapist, and I realized after recording like the 20 sentences that I could have actually taken 10 sentences and then the other 10 sentences and made like 2 exercises. And of course, I only realized this afterwards, and I'm wondering if maybe there would be a way, or if there is a way, to move sentences around.
I see what you mean. Okay, so there are 3 points. I want to say, like, the first point, we actually discussed with Rebecca about this. It will be like a kind of hint. So basically, like, if the exercise is too difficult, the student can click a button maybe to see the sentence.
Yes, exactly.
That help. Yeah, we definitely like discuss about this, and that's something that we can definitely add in our system. It's kind of easy for us to implement this kind of change. Yeah. So thank you for letting us know this. You know, like, there are many things we can do, but having this kind of feedback is very helpful for us to prioritize the kind of actions to take. Yeah. So the second, yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. No, please go ahead. The second thing.
No, I just want to cover the 3 points that you brought up.
Of course.
So the other part is about, like, the you talk about the merge, kind of like the length of the sentence, right? Like you say, like, sometimes, like, I have these very long sentences, and even like you put 20 sentences, generate a lot of exercises, and it becomes like overwhelming for a student in one session. And this one, we can solve it by having templates that actually can be less full of activities. And so, like, and this is actually something that we're working actively. In case you want, we can also co-design some templates. What we mean by this is that if you have in mind some kind of like pedagogical structures, like, for example, support 20 sentences very long, Rebecca can help you to design some kind of like what we call a lesson model, which you manually create a model of this lesson that you kind of dream of. And then with this model, we can generate a template. So then you can automatically create activities always using this kind of model that you create. Yeah. This is something you can do very quickly with Rebecca, and we can actually help you out. We create the perfect models you want.
That's great.
The third part is about, actually there are 4 points, because you talk also about the saving the progress, right?
Yeah.
This is something we really want to improve. So thank you for this also. Like, I guess we have something like this, so you can see on which stage, because our lessons are divided in categories, you know, like, so there's a different part of this lesson. And so we are saving which part you complete, but then we cannot save like in the between. And so I think that's something we can discuss with our developers. And the last part is about the merging of the lessons. For example, we created like 2 different lessons with 10 sentences, 10 sentences, you want to merge them. We are working now in a new design for the course creation, and there is a lot of new things you can do there, and I will be very happy to show you, like, once it's implemented. Actually, today we were testing it, like a new design of course creation. It will be available next week, so you can already see updated, and there will be some capabilities like this, so you are able to add exercises and merge, bring exercise to another lesson, all in the course page. Sorry, maybe there is a lot of answers. But,
I have a lot of questions. I'm wondering, would you permit me 2 more questions?
Yeah.
Or maybe one. I'm just wondering, is there like an API or a plugin sometime in the future? Because I mean, I love the structure. I think it's a fantastic service, but I would really love it if I could integrate it into my website without having my students navigate away from my website. You know what I mean? And I'm wondering if that's something that you've thought about, or that's something that is in the works for you guys, or do they have to always go to, Edugo.AI?
Yeah, the API, of course, is something we thought a lot about it. It's not something that we see actually in the short term to implement, because it's kind of like a lot of work. But one thing I would like to, maybe then we can talk privately about this, because I would like to understand what kind of use case you have for that, because I think there might be some kind of ways we can do some integration with your system. Because sometimes you can already embed, for example, a link of a course inside your website. The problem would be for the authentication, that then they need to go and create an account. So there are ways we can actually do is authentication bridging. So if you already have, like in your website, users are already logged in, and then they can actually access in our website without need to authenticate or create another account. We already work with other schools in this creating bridge of authentication, and that might be a solution. Because the API, actually, then you need to build all the interface yourself. We can give you, so there is some kind of work on your side. So I don't know now how we structure your current team on our website, but there might be some other solutions that might be easier. So for example, authentication bridging might be like maybe what is for you, and might be easier also for us to build.
Yeah, well, it could be a good compromise in any case.
Absolutely, Rafael. I will be very happy actually then if you want, we can jump on a call. I can give you some more feedback about your specific use case. You show me a little bit your system, how it works.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks so much. Thank you for answering those questions.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think if there are no more questions, we already went to well over 1 hour of webinar. So thank you so much for all of you to stay with us till the end. And I would like to say, I'm very happy to learn about all your businesses, all your challenges. So what I will ask is, try out the platform. It's for free, right? Like you just go there in a very few minutes, you can just try it out, as Rafael did, an experiment. I think that's the best way to understand how technology works. And then, of course, we are very happy to, talk to you and understand more about your business, your problems you have, and try to, help you solve your problems and grow your business. That said, Rebecca, thank you so much also for your presentation. And this is actually the first time we do an internal webinar with, two of Edugo, like a team, but I think it's very good.
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming. Yeah.
Okay. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Have a nice one. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.